For our religion, we chose Buddhism. Buddhism was founded by Siddhartha Gautama, which is the main Buddha. The key beliefs are that the followers do not acknowledge a supreme God. In Buddhism, there is no God to worship. The focus is on achieving enlightenment that is attained by utilizing morality, meditation, and wisdom. Meditation helps awaken the truth. The Four Noble Truths include the truth of suffering, which states that humans are subject to desire. Even when we aren't suffering externally, we are unsatisfied. And then the truth of origin of suffering, which says that the root of suffering is desire. And the truth of the end of suffering is extinguishing suffering by liberating oneself from attachment. And lastly, the truth of path to end suffering, which is the Eightfold Path, which includes accepting Buddhist teachings, commitment to cultivate right attitudes, speak the truth, behave peacefully, avoid making living that causes harm, making positive states of mind, develop awareness of the body, sensations, and mind, and develop mental focuses that reach enlightenment. Also, karma and reincarnation are beliefs that are incorporated into Buddhism. Karma is the belief that your actions reciprocate to yourself, and reincarnation is the cycle of rebirth. Some holidays include Vesak, which is the birth of Buddha, Bodhi Day, which commemorates when Buddha reached enlightenment, and Parinirvana Day, which is Buddha's death.
Buddhism is neither monotheistic or polytheistic. There is no God in the Buddhist religion.
Buddhism is a universalizing religion.
Siddhartha Gautama, the founder of Buddhism, who later became known as the Buddha, lived during the 5th century BC. Gautama was born into a wealthy family as a prince in present-day Nepal. Although he had an easy life, Gautama was moved by the suffering of the world. He decided to give up his lavish lifestyle and endure poverty. When this did not fulfill him, thus he sought a life without social indulgences but also without deprivation. After 6 years of searching, Buddhists believe Gautama found enlightenment while meditating under a Bodhi tree. He spent the rest of his life teaching others how to achieve the spiritual state. When Gautama passed away in 483 BC, his followers began to organize a religious movement. Buddhist teachings became the foundation of what would develop into Buddhism. The sacred book of Buddhism called Tripitaka. The book was written by an ancient Indian language called Pali, which is about the same that Buddha spoke.
Buddhism has 3 major branches. The first one is Theravada, which is also known as the School of Elders. It contains the original teachings of Buddhism, including the Four Noble Truths. Meditation and seeking wisdom are promoted. The final goal in Buddhism is nirvana, which is when the cycle of rebirth is broken and there is no more suffering. Secondly, Mahayana is also known as the Great Way. It has a primary motivation to be useful to others, and the ultimate goal is enlightenment. And lastly, Vajrayana is also known as the Diamond Way, is when people are considered to be a mirror of their own mind, and for those with special confidence. All of these branches, however, have Theravada beliefs incorporated.
Some Buddhist symbols are the Dharma chakra or Dharma wheel and the Bodhi tree. The Bodhi tree was the place where Gautama was found meditating under when the Buddhists began to follow his teachings. The Dharma wheel usually has 8 spokes and a variety of meanings. It represents the Eightfold Path. If the Dharma wheel only has 4 spokes, it represents the Four Noble Truths.
A burial in the Buddhist religion usually consists of a ceremony at home or at a Buddhist temple. Prayer and meditation are the main actions. However, when the individual dies, the body must be left untouched until it is extremely cold. This is because it is believed that the soul takes a few hours to leave the body and go into the cycle of rebirth. Cremations are usually used as the main way of burial, but a common burial is accepted. There are no strict rules.
Theravada Buddhism is present in Thailand, Sri Lanka, Cambodia, Laos, and Burma. Mahayana Buddhism is prevalent in China, Japan, Taiwan, Korea, Singapore, and Vietnam. Tibetan Buddhism is prevalent in Tibet, Nepal, Mongolia, Bhutan, and parts of Russia and northern India.
There are an estimated 535 million people practicing Buddhism around the world.
Buddhism began in India through Prince Siddhartha Gautama in a kingdom close to modern-day border of Nepal and India in 6th century BCE.
Diffusion of Buddhism happened from 1st century BC to modern-day times. Monks went around land to spread Buddhism. It started in northern India to Sri Lanka to Myanmar to Thailand to China to Korea to Japan and eventually Europe and the Americas. Relocation to fusion helped Buddhism expand and to universalize. Also, the Silk Road helped Buddhism spread, especially in China.
Cultural landscape is present in the Buddhist religion because Buddhist temples are built with the idea to not just place physical buildings but to also use the surrounding environments. The temples use mountains to represent Buddhist ideas of the universe. The environment around the temples is a key part of Buddhist religion and the practice.
In Buddhism, women are not considered to be inferior for men. However, their roles do revolve around being a wife and a mother. There are no restrictions on educational or religious freedoms for women. They are seen as capable of taking over for husbands if needed and are appreciated in this religion.
The Lausanne Temple is the main place of worship for Buddhists. The temples in India were influenced by the idea of a place of worship as a representation of the universe, usually one tall temple in the center of other smaller temples and big walls. This symbolized the Buddhist imagining of the universe with Mount Meru in the center and being surrounded by smaller mountains and a large wall. The temples are designed to symbolize the five elements: fire, air, earth, water, and wisdom, but the architecture varies from region to region.
Thanks for listening.